Hello, and the Titan Forge Dragon Empire Kickstarter has arrived. It's in this little baggie here. This was a Kickstarter from a few months ago. They're a bit overdue. I think mine was also one of the last ones to arrive. So that's always fun. That's happened to me twice. I got an email the other week from another one that I was in the last pack that was sent out. So, oh well, that happens. But we're going to open this up and have a look, see what we got. So they come in these two cardboard boxes with the bases, and there's a lot of bases here, on top. The joy of doing a Kickstarter is you get a decent amount of minis for a good price, and there's not providing everything's in here and not broken, it's a pretty decent price that we got them for. We got to choose from a lot of different minis. Some of the bigger ones do a lot of stretch goals. I mean, that's the thing of doing Reaper Bones. The Reaper Bones give you amazing stretch goals. The Cool Mini or Not does a lot of stretch goals that are included in the price. Some of the smaller companies do add some stretch goals in when they can, and I think there were some free ones in this one. I'm not sure. I have to... Oh yeah, I think it was more when they hit certain levels we got not free minis as much, but I think they added extra poses and a couple of options, things like that, which is still cool. But the downside is you have to wait. If you do the Robotech Kickstarter, it funded in 2013, and in 2018 we are told it's not going to happen. Thank you, Palladium Games, well done there. Others, though, usually run over. I don't think I've had any that haven't run over the time limit. Most of the time it's not too big a deal, and it's only maybe a couple of weeks to a couple of months. You know, you can live with that. Some of them, though, tend to be very late, and there's been now several different companies on Kickstarter who have been sued by backers or come into conflict with the business bureaus in various states and countries over unfulfilled, projects. Robotech, there's a big discussion about legal action against Palladium Books. People say there's no money. I don't think that's what people are really trying to do. I just think they want to just stick it to them, which, fair enough. It was pretty badly handled, the Robotech one. I think it's really the poster child on how not to do a Kickstarter when you're in trouble. I think that communication is the key. Titan Forge did run into several problems with this one, but I pretty much feel that every time that happened there was at least an update. I never felt that they were trying to do anything dodgy or pull a fast one or anything. That they'd had run into a couple of problems, but they did get, it did get sorted when I contacted them, because mine was late. Mine was well late, so I did not like Robotech late, but it was late compared to when other people said they were starting to get them. So I contacted them, and they responded in a very timely fashion. So yeah, communication is key, and also if you're doing Kickstarters, you've got to understand, especially first-time people doing it, these are going to be late. There's very few that are on time, especially small companies that have a really good one. You have a good Kickstarter, they often get money that they didn't expect. Sometimes there's been ones that have needed 10,000 for a project, and that's what they were hoping for, and they got 100,000. It's a lot of money for a small company, and it affects their whole thing, their production. And when they get a success like that, and that's what it is a big success, it's more than they expected, it's going to affect them. So all those sort of things often end up causing delays. Now they're producing a lot more minis than they had to. They might have done stretch goals that they overextended on the stretch goals. I think that's the biggest one. When there's big success, they overextend on the stretch goals, thinking, okay, we can add this now, or we could offer this, and we can do this. And they hit a point where they find that's much more difficult to do. I think it's hard to balance fairness with offering extra stuff to your backers with keeping it safe for the company, because big success comes with big risk. But just be prepared, if you do one, that it's going to be late, and as long as the company's working with you, maybe it's not worth getting riled up about. At one point they're suddenly going to turn up and you're going to have a lot of nice new minis. So I'm going to open these up and we're going to start having a look at what we have in here. So it's come packed individually, all the minis sort of shoved in, so hopefully enough stuff isn't broken, and then some of the packing stuff on top to try to give it some top protection. So we'll start seeing how everything is inside. So in conclusion, I really like them. They were a good, I think they were a good thing to have supported. The big complaint is the resin they used. I wish they had not used this brittle resin. It does take the detail very well, but they're very easy to break, and that's going to limit the use for these figures. I'm concerned with using them on the gaming table because the Spearman especially, I only broke one, but it was very easy to do. And if you're using it on the gaming table with a lot of people touching it, a lot of people moving it, at some point swords, spears are going to break, and I think that if they fell off the table they would probably break too. I broke one spearman's leg cutting the excess resin off. I expected to do it at some point. You're meant to really use a saw, but doing so puts a lot of the dust in the air, and that dust is not good for your lungs. So I just chose to try to cut around them. So I only did one, and I was able to re-glue it. But there's a few things like that. I think if they'd have used a different quality resin that was a bit more durable, that would have been, for me, better. Overall, the sculpts are fantastic. I love the samurai especially. The Ashiriguru, pretty much very cool. I do like the ones with the mask. They're very reminiscent of the Scorpion clan in Legends of the Five Rings. The archers are cool, but you've got to work on the bows. You're going to have to do the hot water, cold water, I think, to try to get them into a bit of a shape. They're a bit deformed. There was a lot more flash than I expected. It's not an insurmountable thing. It's not going to ruin it, but for the future and moving forward, I mean, that's the thing. The criticism isn't meant to be harmful. It's just meant to be criticism. I think that if they can clean up the minis a little bit more before we get them, that would be helpful. But overall, it's very good. The geisha are my favourite by far. I really like the geisha. They feel very Japanese, and I think they're going to be the most fun for me to paint. I dislike the rogues the most because that's what they feel like. They're meant to be ninja, but for me, they feel more like fantasy rogues. And some people are going to really dig them, and that's cool, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't have done these. I'm just saying for me, I would have preferred more traditional ninja. But they're probably the ones I like the least. But yeah, overall it's really cool. The heroes are excellent. The ninja chickie, she's very nice with the sword, and she's drawing one and she's got one out. I liked her a lot. You got the big Lion Clan samurai. He's very cool. Penguin has taken some of the heroes. We split it, so he's going to review his ones. But yeah, overall I think that if they're going to add to this line, and as they become available through their mainstream store and that, I think it's worth supporting, especially if you're going to be doing L5R. Just be aware that they are brittle, and that's going to determine how you're going to use them. But overall, yeah, good fun. A Kickstarter that actually came through.